With Mount Buffalo, Falls Creek and Mount Hotham, the Alpine Shire has long been associated with the ski fields, but it's got so much more. It's quickly becoming the go-to place for cycling with its challenging but stunning alpine climbs on the road and mountain bike trails equal to any in the world. And it's not just about riding bikes or skiing, paragliding, rock climbing, abseiling, an endless list of outdoor adventure activities. But at some stage you'll need to put your feet up and enjoy the locally produced food. The Alpine Shire, it'll have you looking longingly in the windows of the local real estate agent. Welcome back to the Subaru Australian Mountain Bike Championships. If good bike handling skills like those of Peter Sagan impress you, you'll be even more impressed by this. Observe trials, we've got a world champion Janine Youngfels. Let's take a look at some of the very best. Janine chose to compete against the men at the National Championships. It's just her way of continuing to improve and put herself in the best position possible to defend her world title.
So I managed to take the win out in B grade today, so I was up against the men. So the course was pretty technical, pretty hard, but yeah, I managed to keep it together and only drop 3 points. There was only one concrete pipe that kind of caught me out, but I managed to hold it together and got the win, so that was cool.
In 2015, Janine Youngfels set a precedent in Australian cycling when she became our first ever Observe Trials World Champion.
It's a bit of a quirky sport, but we're in amongst the other cycling disciplines, which is great, and it's all about bike control and balance, so it's pretty cool.
I think some people probably underestimate the physical element of it. What sort of training do you do in the gym so you've got that explosiveness to be able to jump?
People say it looks really easy, but I'm working hard, It does require a lot of timing and strength, so I'm in the gym 3 times a week just to make sure I've got that explosivity.
Nice move by Janine. Big round of applause for Janine. Going really, really well.
In the Observe Trials, there's 2 categories. There's the 26-inch bikes and the 20-inch bikes. For the 26-inch, it was Andrew Dickey who won the Australian title for an extraordinary 11th time. While it was fellow Victorian Nathan Mummery who went out the winner in the 20-inch category.
And then drop across. Beautiful stuff by Nathan Mummery.
Balance, poise and power. The trials, they're extraordinary. From the trials, we're heading back to the Olympic cross country and it's the men's event. Dan McConnell, he's the unbackable favourite, but there's potentially 2 spots up for grabs for Australia to go to the Olympics in Rio. So the race to get the silver medal is going to be just as crucial as the race for the gold medal. Here are a couple of the contenders. It's pretty obvious who the race favourite is, but can you challenge Dan?
Yeah, I think so. We've all been getting a little bit closer to him throughout the season, but anything can happen in the national championships, so yeah, we'll see what happens.
What's it like when you hear everybody reporting on the race, saying that you're the unbackable favourite?
Yeah, it doesn't really mean anything before the race, it's the result at the end that matters. So, it's mountain biking, you can't really get too carried away, and anything can happen. So, I just have to worry about myself, and hopefully, I feel good out there.
Having a target on his back, that's something Dan McConnell is familiar with. Underway, he gets off to a good start. The foot is in nice and quickly. We know he's got good form because recently he was crowned the winner of the Subaru National Mountain Bike Series for the 4th year in a row. Brendan Johnston in the red colours is sticking with him.
He is off to a flying start. He doesn't rate himself as much of a starter, so it's awesome to see him out so quickly.
Oh, Paul Van der Ploeg just going large over the rocks there.
He sure did. He's a big man and he went big.
He looked as if he was enjoying himself. Andrew Blair was the rider in the fluoro colours in around about 12th or 13th position. Cameron Ivory is wearing those same colours and he's in 3rd spot. Kyle Ward goes through in 4th position.
Well, it's great to see the privateer, Kyle Ward, right up there.
At this early stage of the race, it is a question for everybody else. How long can we stick with Dan McConnell? The under 23s, they make a start. They're doing 4 laps of the course. The elite men, they do 5 laps of the course. Scott Bowden, he's the rider in the black colours, and he's trying to win this for the 2nd year running.
And it's Tristan Ward, though, really giving him a run for it at the moment. We saw him in the XCC before. He's hammering.
Smoothly through the rock garden for Dan McConnell. Likewise with Johnston. Ivory, no problems either.
Wow, that's a dominant 3 there. And Kyle Ward, though, not far behind.
He's been one of the rising stars of the National Mountain Bike Series. It's 2 leaders and they train together a lot. A-line is the only option for Dan McConnell. Straight through, almost makes it look smooth.
It's interesting to see just how many of the men here are on dual suspension bikes. Obviously, the course is a fairly technical one, and that's what we like to see. We love to see a track that makes people choose equipment that suits those difficult conditions.
Completion of the first lap. It's a strong lead for Dan McConnell. Ivory in second position. Brendan Johnston in third place. 20 seconds already the advantage, and Kyle Ward is right in the mix. This is Scott Bowden, the leader of the under-23 race.
Yeah, Scotty Bowden, he has been doing incredibly well all National Series. We've often seen him on the elite men's podium, not just the under-23s.
And Chris Hamilton, affectionately known as the Hurricane, the Australian road champion for the under-23s. He was hoping that he'd come here with good form after all the road Ks that he's done. We'll find out soon enough.
Yeah, he's known as a motorbike with legs, that young man.
Plenty of support from the side of the track. The locals are enjoying it. And Mick, Dan looks so comfortable.
Yes, he does, Matt. Dan looks so comfortable right now. He's just come off racing the Pioneer, a big multi-day stage race in New Zealand with about 1 million metres of climbing every day.
One of the things that Dan McConnell has been really working on is his start. It's something he struggled with at World Cup level, so he's determined to be quick and fast in the opening laps of the National Championships, and it's been enough to already create a 41-second gap on Cam Ivory, who's holding on to second position.
Yeah, that's truly impressive. 41 seconds already. Brendan Johnson, we see, has lost a bit of pace, and he's dropped back to give Kyle Ward some company.
And here comes Paul van der Ploeg, one of the local favourites. He'll have lots of support. He hails from Mount Beauty, just the other side of Toowoomba Gap. 5th position. Van der Ploeg is climbing so well for such a big man.
Yeah, I tell you what, sure is. You're right. He's a very popular rider, and it's amazing to see him so far up the field. XCO is not traditionally his format of strength of late.
Scott Bowden continues to build his advantage in the under-23 race. This is the chase amongst those in the minor placings. Hamilton leading. It's then Nankervis, followed by Tucknott.
Yeah, Reece Tucknott, young Reece Tucknott, giving it a real nudge there to hold onto the wheel of those 2 torque riders who are going to be working together to try and close that gap down.
Kyle Ward, he has climbed his way up into second position. This is a big move by Ward. Ivory is just desperately trying to stick with him.
Grinding away, trying to make sure he holds onto the wheel of Kyle Ward. You do not want to let him get away.
Final lap for Scott Bowden. He hears the bell. All that awaits is the checkered flag and another Australian title. He's on target.
You could just see him accelerate as he came through and got that bell. He was obviously excited. He knows he can do some damage in this final lap and just clinch that win.
Ivory has worked his way back into second position. It is the cliched seesaw battle for the silver medal between Ward and Ivory.
It's not a huge gap back to Kyle Ward, though. It's only 17 seconds that Ivory has, and Kyle Ward is definitely capable of shutting it down.
The Tasmanian Scott Bowden, he wins for the 2nd year in a row. One of the rising stars of Australian cycling.
Tongue out, he's clearly stoked.
Tasmania, they've produced so many world-class cyclists, and it looks as if they've found another one. The race for the silver medal, it's Tasman Nankervis who gets the better of his teammate after the big tussle with Chris Hamilton, and it's Hamilton who holds on for 3rd place. Celebration time for Bowden. Scott, back-to-back champion. How does this rate compared to last year?
Yeah, I think this one this year is probably maybe a little bit more special coming in as defending champion. I think I probably put a lot more pressure on myself and, yeah, absolutely over the moon. Haven't actually raced on the mountain bike for, I think, about 6 weeks after skipping the last national round to stay at home and train. So, yeah, absolutely ecstatic with today's ride.
It tells us a lot about his discipline to be race conditioned through training. Dan McConnell, he started with a number 1 on his back, aiming for his 5th national title, and he's right on target.
He sure is. He's just accelerating the whole way through this final lap, really winding it up.
You get the impression that Dan McConnell, right from the very start, has been racing Dan McConnell right into the numbers, pushing himself to the limit, because he started with number 1. He'll finish in position number 1. Dan McConnell is the Australian mountain bike champion for the 5th time. No need to check over the shoulder. That's Daylight in second position. A convincing win.
And we've seen that familiar fist pumping before. He won a World Cup in Germany a couple of years ago, and he's starting his new season off with a bang so far.
And arguably the biggest season in the career of Dan McConnell. He's on target to be named an Olympian once again. He is surely Rio bound. Cameron Ivory, he's done enough in the battle against Kyle Ward, and he gets the silver medal.
Yes, he's run second behind Dan McConnell, probably far too many times for his liking this season. Kyle Ward, what a ride from Kyle Ward, the privateer, coming in third. It's a real battle he had with Brendan Johnson and Ivory. Strong riding.
And waiting for them at the finish is Dan McConnell to congratulate the place getters. But the man who started as the one to watch was the one who controlled the race from start to finish. Here he is. Dan, number 5. How does this rate amongst all your Australian titles?
Yeah, this one's pretty high up. I think every national title's really special, to represent your country and to be able to wear the green and gold for the next year's, really special and, something that everyone wants to do. So to get my 5th one and, in a big year to come, is really exciting.
It is a big year, the Olympic Games. Optimistic about Rio?
Yeah, I'm not going to get too carried away. I'm really looking forward to the challenge and, hopefully, I can get myself back to, the form I was a couple of years ago. And, that's the sort of biggest aim for me. And, if I get there, I'll be a good chance for Rio.
With the potential for Australia to have 2 spots at the Olympic Games, how important was it to you to get that silver medal?
Yeah, very important. I'm just trying to be as consistent as possible. I've had quite a few second places this year to Dan and a win earlier in Thredbo, so still got a few races to go before the selection's finished. So yeah, just keep working on my form, I guess, until the first few World Cups.
And potentially there is a second spot for Australia at the Olympic Games. Dan McConnell, he's got the green and gold bands around his chest once again. He wins comfortably ahead of Cameron Ivory. It was Kyle Ward in 3rd, Brendan Johnson in 4th place, Paul van der Ploeg rounded out the top 5. For the under-23s, Scott Bowden collects the win ahead of Tasman Nankervis and Chris Hamilton. That's the future of Australian mountain biking. Next up, we turn our attention to the adrenaline junkies. It's the downhillers at the Subaru Australian Mountain Bike Championships. Welcome back to the Subaru Australian Mountain Bike Championships. Downhill is a discipline that Australia has been amongst the best in the world for a long time. And at the moment, on the men's side of the fence, we've got the world's number 3 downhill rider, Troy Brosnan. Troy, big year for you in 2015. 3rd, what's it take to get to number 1?
Yeah, it takes a lot of kind of grit and determination, and I guess it's just switching another part of your brain off.
Oh, that's the sort of strategy that makes mum and dad pretty nervous. You had a fall recently. You come into this with a little bit of an injury. How are you feeling?
Yeah, didn't have a great start to 2016, but I've had a bit of an injury on my shoulder and ankle, and shoulder feels fine now. It's just my ankle that's giving me a bit of grief, but it's only pain, so I can kind of get through that and see how I go. But I'm feeling strong here and having fun riding my bike.
Second in the seedings. What do you make of the course?
Yeah, the course is awesome here. It's steep, loose, rough. It's got everything, rocks, roots. It's an all-round track and a really good track to have for national champs.
Can you win?
I think so. I've felt good this morning, and we've got the race coming up, so it's just a matter of time to see what it's going to be like.
2 of the other big favourites, it's the brother-sister combination, Mick Hanna and Tracy Hanna. Let's have a chat to them.
Yeah, it's amazing to come back home always. We have so much support back here, and the racing's fun, and especially for national champs, it's something that ever since I was a kid I've always loved that race through BMX and downhill. It really makes me happy when all the guys come, and we have a lot of the top 10, we have a handful of guys that are in the top 10 in the world, and it's for them to all come and race each other at nationals. It's a good chance for us to practice. It's a good chance for the local scene to get to see us ride too in person.
In my opinion, when I come home, it's not really about whether I win or not. It's about I want to ride with the girls that are up and coming and the girls that are trying to get into the sport, or that maybe are encouraged by someone who did make it overseas and who can race in the World Cup. And I want them to know that, it's not it's not that much of a reach to move to the next level. So I think I just like, being able to bring that big scene home and to know that it's not like hard to reach or an impossible goal.
The course itself, it's 2.4 kilometres long. It starts at the top of Mystic Mountain and plummets down to the bottom. It's not for the faint-hearted.
Yeah, that's for sure. Almost 500 metres of vertical drop in this one. The riders love it. It's super technical, steep, dusty, off-camber, lots of roots and rocks.
The scenery is stunning, but the riders won't get to enjoy it. The spectators, they know the course. They're here for the third year in a row, so they've picked their best vantage points, which often means it's a dangerous part of the course.
That's for sure. There are plenty of dangerous and challenging spots on this course. As we see Shana Hearn, the under-19 women's rider, powering through to the finish now. Let's see what time she does. 5:11:39.
Oh, it was an awesome run. Pretty much just got real loose. And it was just awesome. It was so fun.
You can see by the expression on her face how much she enjoyed herself. It was Rachel Weinert in second position, 1 minute and 1 second off the pace. We now turn our attention to the under-19 men, and this is Luke Vavona, who comes undone.
Luke Vavona having a bit of a lay-down mid-race. That's not what you want. Get your bike off the track, mate. There's other riders coming through.
And here comes a quick one. This is Jackson Frew, who's amongst the early starters. He took it easy in seeding because he's carrying an injury, but he is motoring when it comes to racing. Jackson Frew, third in the world at the Junior World Championships. He stops the clock with the fastest time, 4 minutes, 2.3 seconds.
Yeah, no surprises to see Jackson Frew up there. He's an incredible rider, but watch this rider, Remy Morton, this loose young unit from Queensland, loves getting wild. Look at him just tearing apart those loose, dusty berms.
He's challenging the time of 4:02, just outside, 0.27 of a second. Remy Morton into second position.
Jackson Frew, Remy Morton, those two guys are the future of Australian men's downhill racing for sure.
Here comes Josh Clark from New South Wales. He knows the time to beat. It's 4:02.3. Jackson watches on. That's the injury he's carrying. Now it's out of his hands. He can only watch and wait. Clark sprinting to the line. He could be sprinting to gold, and he gets the win. He breaks the 4-minute barrier. He is the Australian champion.
Joshua Clark.
What was the key to it for you?
To have fun. It was a long wait and it was good to sit there, but it was cool to see Josh get up, and he's a great guy. We're all friends around here, so I mean, if I had to lose to someone, it's good to know it was a friend of mine. So
Jackson Frew showing maturity beyond his years as Josh Clark is in the middle. He celebrates going out the winner. Jackson Frew in second position, Remy Morton in third. Unfortunately, on the women's side of the fence, Tegan Malloy is missing from the race, and she's here. I'm sure she wishes she was amongst the action, but she broke her collarbone recently, and now she can officially call herself a cyclist.
Yeah, I guess this is my first broken bone, and it does happen to be a collarbone, so I guess it's probably due in that respect, but yeah, just unfortunate timing.
Sure is unfortunate timing, missing not only the national champs here in Bright, but the first 2 rounds of the World Cup, including the World Cup in Cairns, which is a real disappointment. As we see Kelly Weinert from New South Wales tearing it up, we just saw her youngest sister in the under-19s, Rachel Weinert.
Kelly keeping it in the family. She now sprints for the line, looking to set the new best time. Shelley Flood is the time to beat, 5:30, and Weinert is well inside, 5:15. She goes to the hot seats.
That is a huge lead to take, 14.5 seconds up. Wow.
Understandably, a big smile on her face. This is Danielle Beecroft now, who makes a start.
Danielle Beecroft has been having a great summer of racing and riding. We saw her take some time off due to an injury through a large part of last year, but she's back into it, and she is absolutely storming now. We know that she is capable of some great stuff. Head down as she buries herself hard on the pedals into the finish. What is her time?
Yes.
She is up by 0.04. That is a tight one.
Well, now she can sit in the hot seat. There's a few big contenders to come. Tracy Hanna will be the last to start. This is Lisa Matheson. She represented Australia at the Olympic Games in Athens. That was cross country. She's gone from racing the endurance events to putting her skills to the test, and she is flying through the rocks.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's an adaptable rider who can take themselves some racing at that level of cross country to come and race at this level of downhill. And she is really dominating. She is not having any worries with the very loose and dusty conditions. conditions. Whoa, almost losing her front wheel coming into the finish straight. You don't want to bin it there.
She sprints to the line, the new fastest time, Lisa Matheson with 4:55, and there's just one challenger to come, and that is Tracy Hannah.
Now she gets to inherit the most uncomfortable seat in the house, the hot seat, waiting for Tracy Hannah.
And here she is, Tracy Hannah, the last woman to come down the mountain, the experienced World Cup campaigner. You'd have to have your money on her.
She looks so composed in the start house. She makes a start. She knows that this is her race to lose. She's got the runs on the board. She's been the best Australian downhiller on the women's side of the fence for a long time.
That's for sure. I've almost lost count of the number of times that this young lady has been the Australian national champion. As we see her looking calm and composed through some of those rocky off-camber sections. Lisa Matheson with a nervous smile. Tracy Hannah popping from berm to berm, really looking relaxed and centered in those nice dusty conditions, plummeting into the straight.
She looks like she's had a lot of fun on course. She's on target to be crowned the Australian champion for the 9th time. She's well inside the time of Lisa Matheson. Tracy Hannah takes the win.
16.8 seconds up, and that is the kind of dominance we expected to see from Tracy Hannah. And here's to hoping that she can do it again in front of her home crowd in Cairns.
Still breathing heavily after another title. It was a tough course.
Yeah, it was really tough, and today just got blown out, so around every corner was a bit of a surprise. So I'm glad I made it down on 2 wheels and able to take the title again makes me happy.
The bronze medal last year at the World Championships, 4th in the World Cup Series. What's the objective for 2016?
The goal for the World Cup is to be consistent and have a good overall and hopefully have a chance at World Champs in September.
Congratulations on another Australian title as you continue to lose count.
Thank you.
Bike Championships Elite Women's Downhill Podium!
Tracy Hannah with the win ahead of Lisa Matheson, then Danielle Beecroft, followed by Kelly Wynut and Shelley Flood in 5th. The final event for the Subaru National Mountain Bike Championships, and it is the elite men's downhill, where Australia's got some of the very best in the world.
Mate, strap yourself in tight. This is going to be some wild riding. As we see Ollie Zwar out of the gate, just on the gas straight away.
The Victorian, he was one of the quicker qualifiers. Seeding has placed him pretty well. Ollie Zwar is plummeting down through the rock garden. He is moving super quick.
He sure is. He's barely touching the ground through the rock garden there.
Pumping it down through this section, maintaining as much speed as possible. Momentarily on the pedals, now he starts to stand on them. Sprinting to the line, Ollie Zwar is going to be inside the 4-minute barrier, and this could be enough for the hot seats. He stops the clock with 3:56, sets a new fastest time.
Yeah, Ollie Zwar's got to be very happy with that. He qualified well, and it's great to see him in the hot seat. He definitely deserves to be there.
Mick Hannah. We've seen his sister Tracy Hannah win yet another Australian title. Mick Hannah, can he keep it in the family?
He must be one of the most experienced riders in the country. Mick Hannah seems to have been at it on the World Cup circuit forever. This guy is itching for a win. We know he's capable of it. He's been Australian national champion before. Can he do it this time again?
Ollie watches the clock as Mick sprints for it. The foot slipped off the pedal ever so slightly, half a second off the pace.
He will be disappointed that he can't make it a Hannah double this weekend.
Ollie Zwar is still in the hot seat. No matter what happens, you've managed to beat one of the legends of Australian downhill, Mick Hannah.
Yeah, I was just thinking that to myself, because back when I was a young little fella, I'd look at him on all the DVDs and sort of look up to him, and to be able to beat him is pretty cool in my books.
The next to start is Josh Barton. He's been close to getting the title in the past.
It's good to see Josh Barton back again. This guy's an absolute veteran of the sport already, and he has an awesome style on a bike. Spends a lot of time on a dirt bike, so check him out.
He's got a couple of bronze medals to his name in the downhill, and he's on target to challenge the hot seats.
Whoa, he just threads his way through those rocks there, making sure he didn't get hung up on anything. He was taking the fast line, not the rough one. Wow, those dusty berms have been threatening to take away people's front wheels all day, but Josh manages to hold it together.
He's sprinting to the line. 3:56 is the time to beat, and Barton will be well inside. Josh Barton hits the button and stops the clock with a new best time.
5:41. He says, "Move aside, Ollie. I'll take care of this one for you, mate." into the hot seat, Josh Button. And Dean Lucas, this guy has been having an incredible ride these last 12 months. His World Cup season was spectacular. We finally started to see what he was truly capable of. He's on a new team this year, and he's from just down the road at Beechworth, so he knows these conditions. Bang!
And his mum is on the finish line watching nervously. He was a third-place finisher in one of the World Cup rounds in 2015.
Wow.
His star is on the rise as Button watches.
He sure does. He was lighting it up through those berms, on the gas into the finishing straight. Dean Lucas, can he do it in front of a home crowd? Not quite. 0.46 back.
Less than half a second. Dean Lucas misses the hot seats. Can he still hold on to get a medal as Troy Brosnan is on course?
Look at his style. Such an energetic but efficient rider. He's really got that BMX kind of almost losing it there. His front wheel getting tagged and the rear stepping out. That's crazy to watch. He is such a smooth rider though. Unbelievable.
Troy Brosnan, he was the second fastest in qualifying. He carries an injury. He's going to get the time of Josh Button, but will it be enough to get the Australian title? He stops the clock, 3:45.4 with just Connor Fearon to come.
It's amazing to see Troy Brosnan at work. He is just so smooth in the way that he extracts speed from the terrain without pedaling. He can pump his way through sections and go faster than when other people are on the gas. It's seriously good to watch his style. Connor Fearon, the last rider on the hill, also from South Australia, a fellow Adelaidean. He is a wild man on a bike. Can he topple Troy Brosnan this time? We've seen him come second to Troy before. As he gets loose through the rock garden, Connor Fearon, can he do it?
Through the rocks, bounce, then pedal. Connor Fearon, he's been in the shadows of Brosnan throughout his career. Brosnan watches. There's nothing he can do from here. He's sucking in the oxygen as Fearon is pouncing on the pedals. He's sprinting to the line, looking for the time of 3:45. Brosnan, has he done enough to hold on? Fearon desperately close, but not close enough. It is Troy Brosnan, who is the Australian champion once again.
And he's pumped up. His reaction shows just how much it means to wear the green and gold.
Troy, those last few moments when you were watching for Connor to come down, what was the emotions like?
I didn't want to watch. It's just the worst feeling being here, kind of waiting, seeing if you're going to win or not. So I'm definitely like coming down last, and then there's no pressure at the bottom, just waiting. But I had a really good run, and I knew Connor was riding so fast, so I just had to wait and see. And it was so close at the end there, but I'm glad I took it out.
You two guys have had a career in parallel, but you're close mates, yet you bring the best out of each other on the course.
Yeah, definitely. We live in the same state and we ride together at home a little bit as well. So to have, two guys that race World Cups and race together their whole life is pretty amazing. And, to be able to call him one of my good mates as well is another thing. So I'm pretty stoked that we can go from here and try and do this at the World Cups.
And what about the hug from Mum?
Yeah, that was pretty special. Mum and Dad are here this weekend, and I guess just what I've been through lately has been pretty rough, and to get a win like this is pretty special.
Connor, so close. You look disappointed.
Yeah, it's just a repeat of the last 2 years. Troy's obviously one of the fastest riders in the world right now, so definitely hard to beat, but the last 2 years I've got second to him, so
Connor got robbed.
would have really liked to win this time, but just wasn't enough, so come again next year and try again, I guess.
His body language told the story. Disappointment for Connor Fearon, but Australia's most popular cyclist on social media, Troy Brosnan, with 500,000 followers on Facebook, goes out the winner. Fearon in second position. Josh Button was third. Lucas and Zwar ran out the top 5. It was the National Championships of confirmation, with most of the favourites in most of the disciplines managing to get the win. I'm joined by the CEO of Mountain Bike Australia, Shane Coppen. Shane, from your perspective, away from the racing and the results, what was one of the highlights?
Oh, it was fantastic. So many happy riders, regardless where they came. An under 7, under 13 event, and just a wonderful weekend for mountain biking.
And a big year ahead for you guys.
Absolutely. Move from here to the World Cup in Cairns. Should be another sensational event on the calendar in Australia, and we encourage all to get there.
That's it from the Subaru Australian Mountain Bike Championships. There's a big year ahead on the dirt. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.